Hi everyone, this is Dr. Patrick. I'm here with Miss Allison. She's not actually Miss Allison. You're Mrs. Samuels or Mrs. S, aren't
Yeah, they
you?
call me Mrs. S mainly,
Yeah,
but
and I'm
yeah.
Dr. P. We're here to talk about the New Testament culture and language course. Now, there's more about Mrs. S and ancient civilization or classical civilization studies on the other video that we did about ancient Greece. So even if you're not interested in the ancient Greek history class, please go watch it because there's lots of cool background there.
And also you should be interested in that class too.
Yeah, you'll take them both, right?
Yes, you should, yeah.
Well, my daughter took both your ancient Greece and ancient Rome, so she would say if there's anything else Miss S does, you need to take it. Sadly, she's going to college next year, so she can't. So there's a brand new course about New Testament culture and language. And what I would like to have you start off with is why you tackled me at the tea shop in November and said, you know, I want to put ancient Rome to bed and I want to do this course instead. So why? Yeah. Oh, that rhymed.
Yeah, it did. Yeah, well, actually, this isn't the course I've always wanted to write. This is the course, which is nearly the course I've always wanted to write, because when my grandfather was young, this goes back a long way, he wasn't able to stay at school when he was 14. And he had to leave and he had to go work on the railways. And he worked on the railways all his life. But he was very bright. These days he'd have gone to college. He taught himself Greek to read the Bible.
Oh, gosh.
And I've always had huge respect for him. He taught himself Greek and he educated his daughters. He wasn't allowed to go to school, but all his daughters went to college. And, you know, he was a great man, great unsung hero. And I've always wanted to have a course teaching people New Testament Greek, but for reading the Bible, not teaching it as a very fast course for people who are going into the ministry or teaching it for historians, but teaching it with a little result every week. So it just helps you towards reading the Bible. So I've always wanted to do that. And then I was teaching for you. And what I want to do for you is not that course, which is just learning the whole of ancient Greek. But I think what would be really good is to do a culture course like we did with Greeks, like we did with the Romans, but to put some of that language in it. So people are learning for their reading of the Bible about the background of the Bible. They're learning what the places were like, why the politics was the way it was, what people are eating, what people are wearing. And they're also just getting that bit of access to what they're speaking. So this is my way of offering people a bit of Greek with a lot of everything else as a background for reading the Bible.
And I think, I'm pretty sure that we've already got students who've signed up for this who aren't necessarily Christian, but they're very interested in what was it like during biblical times historically. And that's going to be in there as well. So you don't necessarily have to want to, you can do it for scholarly reasons.
I want to be really clear, this is not a theological course.
Right.
This isn't a theological course. No theology. Well, no, it's not a theological course. This is a historical course, which is opening doors on this period, which is very special to Christians, but is a genuine historical period, just like ancient Greece, just like Rome under Augustus. It's a genuine historical period and a very fascinating place because we're looking at this small area of what I'm going to call the Holy Land, because today it's a mixture of countries, which is at the crossroads between East and West. And a lot is happening there in the period that we're going to be looking at, really the 1st century AD.
And we mentioned this already in the ancient Greece course a little bit, because you said that focuses on 500 years earlier than what you're going to be focusing on.
Yeah.
But the way that Greek culture had just, it was like the bedrock of what everybody, no matter what their religions or their background, what everybody understood as the basis of society.
Yeah, it's become a basic common denominator everywhere. I'm not allowed to say it's the McDonald's of the ancient world.
You can say what you like.
Yeah, it's the McDonald's of the ancient. Wherever you go, you'll find Greek style worship, Greek speech, and a lot of Greek culture going on. And that's very true of this region that we're going to be looking at, the Holy Land.
And we did talk a little bit about assessment in the other class, but go ahead and just briefly cover that again.
Well, this class is going to be a bit different. In the Greek class, the writing extension is is building up to an assessed term paper, and you're building up to that by doing essentially analysing archaeological objects. Mm-hmm. Now, this course is put together out of two things. One of them is giving people an insight into history and culture, just like the Greek and Roman courses did.
Right.
But the other is giving them some Greek, or making them get some Greek. And so the extension classes on this one are going to be about the Greek language.
Okay, yeah.
So in this class, it makes perfect sense to take the main course as a standalone course. Mm-hmm. And there will be a little bit of Greek in that. But the extension classes will be Greek language classes.
And so there'll be sort of exercises?
Exercises.
Okay.
Yeah.
And would you still be building up in a unit to anything, or is it the whole thing is more like a foreign language class?
Well, the way I want to do this, because I've thought about this for years.
I know you have.
The way I want to do this is so we get a memory verse every week.
Okay.
So they're going to be ongoing goals. And the first set of memory verses we're going to deal with are the I am sayings of Jesus. Okay. Because I want people, when they come away, not just to have some Greek exercises, but to have a verse in the Bible that they can say, I can write that out. I know what that means. I know what every word in that means. So what we're going to do is each week we'll have a verse, but each week we'll also look at a new piece of grammar related to understanding that verse. So what we're going to build up is a portfolio of verses with the capacity to look at that and say, I could read that. If I open my New Testament, I can see that, and I know what that means.
Do you know, it reminds me of, I think it was Joyce Herzog who wrote a copywork book from the Bible that was kind of learning learning phonetically in the Bible as you're a really young child, writing out your first copyworks. And it was very much the same thing. I think it started with the I am statements, because for one thing, if you're really young, you can write I am the bread or something. But it was the way that she built it was getting starting off with the easier vowels and then getting more and more. I guess bread wouldn't have been one, but you know, I'm a dog or something, but that's not in the Bible. But you know what I mean? She would start off with really basic sort of vowel sounds, and then she'd get more and more difficult into the vowel mixtures and things like that. So.
Yes, it's a bit like that, because we're going to start off with just very simple words and simple structures, and gradually add in more information.
Right.
And we're also going to do little cultural snippets with that. So there will be little extras in the extension class as well.
Okay. So the idea for, again, if you're in America, is that it can be a credit for your world history. If you do the extension, the actual extension gets you an honors credit, not really a Greek language credit, I don't think, right? It wouldn't be sort of...
No, because the aim isn't to work up a level of technical skills in Greek. The aim is to make the New Testament accessible.
And then, do you need any kind of special keyboard on your computer then? You'll have to upload a...
Well, you can get free ancient Greek fonts.
Okay.
I use one called Spionic, which you can just download for free. That's the one I use.
Good answer. Free.
Yeah. Free is always good.
And name one book that you're wanting to use, because with Charlotte Mason we do living books. What's a book that you're going to use for the culture class?
Well, this is a bit like Desert Island Discs.
Yes.
Because you have to say apart from the Bible and Shakespeare.
Yeah.
So, well, actually, not necessarily Shakespeare, but obviously we're going to be using bits of the Bible.
Right, yeah.
Although, again, as I said, this is not a theological course. No theology here. But we are, for example, we're going to go back a bit. So we will be looking at Nehemiah
Yes.
and the return of the temple to
You said
Jerusalem.
Maccabees as well.
Maccabees, yes, and some people do or don't have that in their Bible. That doesn't make any difference to us because we would be reading it as a historical text,
right?
Not as a spiritual.
And it's online anyway.
And it's online.
Yeah.
So also Josephus, the writings of Josephus,
right.
who's a contemporary writer writing about the Jewish wars. He
Yes.
has a book called The Jewish Wars,
Yeah.
and the history of how the Holy Land came to be the place it was in the time of Jesus, and what went on, what happened next, down to the fall of Jerusalem.
You're making me want to take this class too.
Yeah, you can be my teaching assistant.
Yeah, I could. I could. I'm just here helping.
Yeah.
But we teach concurrently. Oh, I've changed my schedule this year so we don't.
Have you?
For the first time ever. Yeah, I've moved my class so I don't clash with yours.
All right, so we can hang out virtually.
We can, yeah. That's awesome. Instead, I might have to fly 4,500 miles to come and see you and have a cup of tea. Okay, so
Like today.
yeah. Thank you for the finches for being our background sound effects.
Yeah.
And I did want to say also, I know my nose is really red. I got sunburn yesterday on having a picnic, so I don't normally have this red.
She says it's sunburn.
But it was really great talking to you, Alison.
You too.
And I bet you've got one more class. No, you've done.
No, one more for me because I had that glitch over Christmas.
Yeah, so you did an extra week. So I've got one more day as well before we finish. But we're really looking forward to it.
It's really hard finishing, actually.
I know. Do you have anyone who's been with Dreaming Spires a long time who's going to give a graduation speech?
I hadn't thought about that. Claire, I suppose.
Yeah?
I must write to people.
Yeah, you do.
You're not supposed to tell me off online.
No. Well, my daughter yesterday did hers. She's been with us 7 years.
Yeah, no, I must send letters to people reminding them.
Yeah.
Because it's just snuck up on me.
I know. Someone said, I finished Dr. P. I said, yes, but you're in Middle Ages. That's my first year class. She said, yeah, but I did it backwards. I started with American Lit. Went back to, oh no. So, yeah. We really get to know them, don't we?
Yeah, we get people who come back.
Oh, we won't. No, we have to stop or I'll start crying all over again. Okay, so it was lovely to talk to you.
Yeah.
This is kind of a two-parter. Remember, the ancient Greece discussion has a lot of good information in it as well. And we're looking forward to starting in September. And any questions, you can email me, basically. Yes. Okay, our websites are www.dreamingspiresHomeLearning.com for America, www.dreamingspiresHomeLearning.co.uk for people who take UK type exams. And we're also on Facebook as Dreaming Spires Home Learning. And on Instagram, I'm actually Kat Patrick Online Tutor, but that's still Dreaming Spires. So you can find us there. All right. Thanks very much, everybody. We'll see you soon. Bye.
Bye.